Yo, what up, Street Dogs? Eric Kim. Alright, the other thought. Courage is a muscle that has to be exercised. So I noticed this at least with street photography. The best way to get better at it and to build your confidence, courage, is just gotta keep practicing it. It's kind of like you could be, for example, let's say you're a bodybuilder for 20 years and you work out every single day. After that, if you don't keep working out, of course you're gonna lose your muscles and lose your gains. The saying use it or lose it is quite apt here. And I like the notion of it being like a muscle because we know what muscles are and how to work on them, is that they just kind of constantly need to be worked on. Now, this is kind of anti-American mentality where it seems like the general gist of what people are trying to do is you work really, really hard, and then once you retire or something like that, you don't gotta do nothing for the rest of your life. But that's not the goal. The goal is, what you want instead of retirement is you want leisure or OTM. You essentially just want a lot of free time to more actively pursue what you're personally interested in. So even actually the irony is during quarantine meaning 40 days of not having access to X, Y, and Z, I've actually been more creatively productive, and I've actually been getting more muscular gains during quarantine than I was before quarantine. How did I do that? Is because I actually work out more, I have fewer distractions, and I have some dumbbells at home. I do those every single day. And so, some people say, oh, don't be afraid of overtraining, blah, blah. I mean, I think that overtraining is kind of a misconstrued myth, meaning certainly we need rest and recovery for certain things, but we can essentially push the human body harder and further than what people tend to think. But anyways, so for example, with courage, when it comes to shooting street photography or talking to a stranger or anything like that, you gotta practice it every day. And my personal thought is the best way to practice something and train yourself is position yourself in some sort of environment or adapt or design your lifestyle which allows that to happen. So for example, let's say your goal is street photography, and to maximize your street photography and stuff like that, then it probably makes sense for you to live in a downtown city where you could actually practice street photography quite frequently, right? If your goal is if you like walking, and walking is your thing, like myself, best to live in a city which is very walkable. Like I'm currently here in Providence, Rhode Island, and to me it's one of the best cities. No, let me take that back. It is currently my favorite city in the world. Why? Because I could just walk everywhere. And the more I walk, the more freedom I have, the happier I am. The more energy I have, the more creative ideas I have, and so forth. And that's very good for me. So if we think that courage is a muscle, we essentially need opportunities to exercise our courage. So in street photography, you essentially, let's say it's scary or difficult to photograph strangers, you need to put yourself in a position where you could regularly photograph strangers as much as you can. And this is my general thought, is honestly, in this game of life, what's the point of all of it? To me, it's just to make to make art, to make great artwork, and to create a great artwork which lasts. So to me, durability in art is very essential. Is that durability in art means if you create things which last, typically they have more worth and value. So even when I look back at my old pictures, what tends to last? The photos and the artworks that I've made that's last, it's generally been created out of a spirit that I genuinely cared, and I wasn't trying to placate other people. It's just I was doing it to fulfill my own personal curiosities, and I just personally had fun doing it for myself, for the sake of myself. And I mean, certainly the goal seems to be, rather than to create things which just kind of give you short-term fame, isn't it far more interesting to get like forever fame, like immortal fame? Isn't that the goal? Like to create things which can last, not just get you you know, a bunch of money today or this month or this year or 10 years, to think 20, 30, 40, 50 years, 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, 1,000 years, 100,000 years, whatever it may be. So for me, it does seem sufficient to, you know, strive with all your might and your soul, yeah, to create artworks which last, which are gonna have meaning, which has personal impact to you, and to share it with other people. So once again, let's remind ourselves that muscle is the courage, and courage is the muscle. And the more we continue to exhibit our courage and our muscles, the better.